Hey guys, today Shay Gillespie is joining us, and I became particularly infatuated, and yes, infatuated is the right word, with Shay when I learned that this is a lady who not only is teaching kids to code through her organization, Color Coded Kids, she's also a bodybuilder, and she's in amazing shape. You're not going to get to see a lot of it as we film today, this podcast, but wow, you're going to hear it expressed through her. Shay has unbounding energy, a commitment to ensuring that all children of color and every expression of life are gaining an opportunity in the technical field. I love Shay. I think you will as well. She's going to share with us not only about her work, but about her life. And let's get started. Meet Shay Gillespie of Color Coded Kids. So family, she's here. Shay. Hey, Shay.
Hi, Miss Janice. I am honored to be here. Seriously.
Oh, girl, listen.
Seriously.
This podcast has been waiting for you. First of all, the authenticity with which you are bringing your love to the community, the brilliance you bring to your work, and the energy that you're just giving all of us, those of us who follow you and know you, it's incredible. So it's just an honor to bring you to a broader audience. We're going to have a lot of fun today, but you know what? I psyched them up that they're going to get to know young Shay as well.
Okay.
So many, Shay, so many of our family are interested in how people grew up and how that impacted who they are today.
Okay.
Those stories early in life matter a lot to you, but they matter to people who want to know you as well. Take us back, give us baby Shay and bring us up to date. I know it's not a long distance because you're so young.
No, it is. 77, I was born. So it's
You're a baby. You're a baby.
Well, I would say, you know what? It's so funny because I was just having this conversation with someone. They asked, where do I get all of my energy? And I said, really, I believe it's innate. I don't drink any coffee. Matter of fact, if you look me up on LinkedIn, it says no caffeine needed in my headline because I've always had a burst of energy. I can almost feel it daily. And so when it's a more of a mental thing maybe for me than physical. And I remember when I was, my family would say when I was 10 months, so my name is Shay, but they would call me Shake and Bake because I learned how to walk and I never looked back. And I was always into something. I was shaking. If music came on, I was dancing with my little pamper on. And so it's just something that I think I've always had, but I've been a mover and shaker and I've always been a determined person. I can remember at 2 or 3 years old, thinking when someone said, you can't tie your shoe at this age. Usually they don't tie their shoes until they're 4. And I'm like, yes, I am. And I remember that process. So I've always tried to do things that maybe I shouldn't do at this age or at a certain age, or there was always some type of built requirement. I always tried to go past that threshold. So
well, look, girl, that is teaching. That is teaching. You're already dropping these gems. I gotta ask you, where were you born, and tell us a little bit about your family.
I was born in St. Louis, Missouri. My mom actually was a teen mother. So she lived with my grandmother. My grandmother had 10 kids, 5 boys, 5 girls. My mom was in the middle. And she dropped out of high school, had my sister at 16, and went back for her 4-week or 6-week checkup and was pregnant again with me.
Wow.
So by the time she was 17, she had both of us. So my sister and I, my birthday is in 2 weeks actually, and I'll be 44, and my sister and I will be 44 together. And then she'll be 45 in August.
They got a certain kind of name for those twins.
Irish twins. We are Irish twins, exactly. Yep.
O'Shea, O'Shea.
There might be another name that they call it.
Well, you know what my daddy used to tell us? He paraquoted Shakespeare. He said, "A rose by any other name would smell as sweet." So, girl, no matter what you call it, I'm glad it happened. And I know the world is blessed by you.
Yeah. So then my brother came along. So I'm middle child. So as you see in this interview, you'll see where that middle child syndrome comes out. You'll see.
Well, this conversation is off already to a lot of fun. And that's how I met you. When I first, oh, by the way, I already let them know that I met you virtually. Mm-hmm. So Shay, this state of COVID has helped a lot of people to really dig into themselves, their families, values, just about everything. People have had time to do that. Everybody's not doing it, let's be clear.
Right.
But those who have are reaping some benefit from it. What benefits have you gotten from COVID? We know the devastation for many. We know the uncertainty, the fear. We know a lot, but there have been some benefits too. How have you shaped this into benefit for yourself?
Oh my God. So there's so many. I almost hate to, discuss it because there's been a lot of loss. I know a lot of folks who have lost family, like both parents because of COVID. I mean, it just tragedies.
I didn't lose my husband from COVID. You can see him over my shoulder as an angel, but he did pass of Alzheimer's in August.
See, yeah. And so it's tough to even talk about, share your victories in this time because there's been a lot of loss and tragedies. Senseless, if we would just have had the right leadership, but that's another story. So, but I would say for me, there were some personal and professional gains over COVID. So personal, or I'll start with professional, if that's okay. If you want me to start with the professional piece, I was forced, so I have my own business, Color Coded Kids, and we were virtual, we were in person inside Microsoft stores. We were in 8 locations across the US, and we were teaching kids how to code. And 90% of the kids were African American or non-white children. So we had Hispanics, we had Asian kids. And so really something that I'm very passionate about is teaching kids about technology. And we were forced, because of COVID, they shut down all of the Microsoft stores and we were forced to go virtual. Well, what that opened up for me is I can literally have kids in Africa, as long as they have the link, to be exposed to coding. So the beauty of COVID, it forced me, because I wouldn't have done it so fast. I like our in-person classes, but because of COVID, it forced me, if I wanted to sustain business, I had to go virtual. And so that helped. And now we still have virtual classes, even though we're starting to go back in person. We have camps, in-person camps starting on Monday, but we still also have our virtual classes. So professionally, it helped me get more automated into technology. And then on
the teacher of tech got more tech.
Right. And I knew that I should have, but I like that in person for our classes because they're so fun and interactive. It just forced me to be able to do that and be more creative online with the classes. And it's working really well. Like I said, we still have classes going on now. It's a year plus later. And, but personal, on a personal aspect. So I have one son, I have two sons, 14 and 13. My 13-year-old has Down syndrome. And during this time, he's forced to be online, trading classes down. Keep in mind, when you have a special need, you don't have just one teacher. You have 5 or 6 teachers because you have these specialty teachers. You have an occupational therapist, you have a physical therapist, you may have a speech therapist, then you have your regular teacher, then you have all these other classes. So imagine being a child that has mental delays, now having to learn what a lot of adults don't even know how to do, and that's, work a computer and get passwords and all of these things. When I tell you this boy has amazed me over the last year, he has done the work. Mom is working, I have virtual calls and meetings all day, and he's been online and getting online on his own and putting his clothes on his own and doing all these things that we probably hindered him from because we thought he couldn't do, but he was forced upon us to allow him to learn and do them himself. And now he's so much more self-sufficient and independent because of COVID. So I'm so thankful for that aspect. And it taught me a lesson, like you stop, being a helicopter mom over him and allow him to do things, because he will.
Yeah, when you move your helicopter out of the way, he can fly. You clear his airspace.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, girl. Well, listen, I want to jump quickly into something that's interesting, I think, for people to know, and that's how you got into coding. How did you get interested in tech, period?
Okay, so it's a long, convoluted, moving parts story, but coding aspect, I work for full-time Worldwide Technology, and we're based—
Shout out to Dave.
Yes, largest Black-owned company in the US. We are based in St. Louis, and so I'm in technology sales, and in this moment, I see infrastructure engineers and all of these different engineers.
But because I want to make sure people are understanding how they get into tech through how you got into tech. Did you even have a tech background when you applied for the sales position? Is that how you started?
No, so I was getting my master's degree, and I'm gonna date myself. So Monster.com, I don't even know if that still exists. They had an opening. I was more of a writer. I would write marketing plans and proposals, and so I was getting my degree in media communications, my master's, and I was 6 months out from graduating, and I applied for Worldwide Technology to be a proposal writer. So writing some of their technical writing for new opportunities, and got the job and was doing that for about 2 years, and became interested in supplier diversity. And we didn't have a supplier diversity program. We had a very informal program that this guy was running as his part-time when he felt like it, because he had another job. And I really just took that project and made it my baby. And I studied supplier diversity programs, the largest ones, AT&T, Coca-Cola, the largest supplier diversity programs in the world. And I really tried to emulate and create our program based on some of those best practices. And we built, so after that, 2011, I built out our first, I was the first full-time supplier diversity person for Worldwide Technology. So in that job, I started going to a lot of events, as you know. You get it acclimated with the NMSDC and all of the affiliate councils, and migrated up, learned a lot about Worldwide, learned a lot about sourcing and bids, and decided to apply for the sales role. Well, Dave Stewart told me before I even applied, he said 3 years before I even applied, you need to be in sales. And I said, Dave, I don't know how to do sales. He said, yes, you do. Because guess what? You know how to build relationships, and that's all sales is. You talk to everybody from CEOs down, and you need to be in sales. And I would just kind of, no, I was afraid. And then finally I did it. Best thing I could have ever done. I love my job. But yeah, so that's how I got into sales. Didn't have a sales background. Like I said, I had a master's degree in communications and communications management. And so here I am. So I think my experience at Worldwide, learning the company, helped. It would be harder, more challenging. It could be done coming off the street and not knowing Worldwide, and then trying to be in sales.
Did you find a lot of women or absence of women when you first jumped in?
There's not a lot of women, and not in sales. There's not a lot of women.
And what do you think? Well, oh, look, we're fine, honey. This is so real. I'll ask you the question again in case they want to edit it, but I'm fine.
Please edit it.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Shay, when you jumped into sales at Worldwide Technologies, did you find a lot of women, or was there an absence of women?
There is not a lot of women in sales at all. There's not a lot of, in fact, on my team, I could probably count how many women are in sales. And that's one of the reasons why I started Color Coded Kids. That's really one of the reasons why, because there's not a lot of representation of minorities or women in sales, and especially technical sales. See, there's a difference between retail sales and a lot of, different other types of sales, but technical sales, it requires expertise that not a lot of women or minorities choose as a field of study. And what I like about Color Coded Kids is we're exposing them in elementary school so that they understand that this is something that they could possibly choose as a career.
So, it's really important to understand just how Color Coded Kids works and where it's working. Talk about that, please. And don't be shy if it sounds like an ad for your business, because it's very educating to most people to know.
Yeah, so it really, you know what, it's my baby. It's my passion. I love what I do. Like I said, I have 2 summer camps starting next week, but really my goal is to expose as many children of color, and we accept any kids, it's an all-inclusive program, but I go into where I know there's a plethora of under-resourced minority students that need this opportunity. So for example, one of my summer camps is with the Urban League. I know the constituents of the Urban League. They are going to find kids in under-resourced areas to bring to this camp so that they can get this skill, or they can be exposed.
I serve on the board, Shay, I serve on the board of the Urban League in Los Angeles, and you are correct. They are sourcing kids, and they are sourcing kids from brown and Black communities, from Asian communities. Also, economic issues exist for a lot of kids who may not be considered minority, and the disparity in services really does end up being an economic one once you get beyond the ethnicity, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, and that's why I always say under-resourced. I always say that because I don't want it to seem, or we need to make sure that the language is clear. It's not just Black kids that are in need. So when I say minorities, that's my passion, because I am Black and I have 2 Black kids, but under-resourced areas includes all walks of life. And so that's why I always.
And this has been really revealed during COVID, hasn't it?
Oh, yes. Wi-Fi issues and not having connections. And I didn't even think about, you don't think about that. Once you reach a certain status, you really, sometimes it's humbling to go back. That's why they say you should stay connected to the community, because there are things that we take for granted, like Wi-Fi. A lot of these kids, of course, they didn't have computers or laptops, but they don't even have Wi-Fi fiber, the high speed, even in their neighborhoods. Like these companies.
And that impacts. Girl, that impacts not just the ability to work from home. If you choose to be if you're a professional who chooses to live in a neighborhood, it also impacts the number of services and kinds of services that can be delivered within the neighborhood. Right. I'm headed back I'm headed back for 4th of July to Eastern North Carolina, one of the poorest parts of the nation. And I'm going to be celebrating 4th of July with my family. And Wi-Fi is an issue. And the guy back there who's setting me up for when I get home is like, girlfriend, what was working before isn't working now. We got to really beef you up. And for you to hold all these meetings and these presentations, you just don't have the bandwidth to do that. So you're really speaking some problems and truths to light, Shay.
It's challenging. Yeah, it's challenging. And you just have to, like one of the things that I'm trying to do is just make sure that we're being intentional about those things in the community, not just, oh, let me put my name on something or let me just go check a box, just being intentional about what really are the needs of the kids.
So how do you deliver the program? You mentioned that you are delivering them in schools. How do you partner with the schools? What does that look like?
So the partnership, really, it's a matter of having it as an after-school program. The challenge is one of my, niche, what separates me from traditional coding programs is that a lot of them hire a teacher that learned coding, and that's okay. Nothing's wrong with that. But my program and my mission is for the kids to get a mentor that's in the industry. So all of my developers are from Fortune 500s across the US. They actually code, or smaller companies, they actually code for a living, because I want the kids to have industry knowledge and best practices, but also look at this person as a mentor. The challenge with that is they work all day. So I'm in the schools at night, in the evenings, right? So we have after school programs for the schools. And it's just a matter of getting with the administration and ironing out an implementation program and plan. And then we typically come into the schools. Our program is 12 weeks. So at the end of 12 weeks, each kid would have learned 3 programming languages, and they've created their own small video game.
And what happens then? Are any of them commercialization ready, Shay?
No, they're not. They're not really commercial, but they have bragging rights that they literally have coded their own game. And we have a certificate program, so they become a certified, what we call codette instead of cadet. We say codette, and they get the one thing I really love and about the classes that were in person versus virtual is that the kids, after they create the game, the parents come and play the kids' game.
Oh.
How nice is that for your mom or dad to come and now play? And it's a proud moment for the parents. Like, literally, I'm sitting here, my child has created a game and I'm actually doing a demo of the game. So that's the piece that is missing in the virtual space. We can do it, but it's not the same as in person.
Well, we're showing people how to link to you so they can learn more about it. As we do that, it's really, I think, important for you to share with our family why they want their kids involved in this, regardless of where they think their kids are headed. I mean, I work in employment, and I can tell you, Shay, and it's probably your experience based on what you're saying as well, that very often what we study in school is a platform for our discipline, but we don't actually work within the discipline we study. And so what does exposing your kids to coding do for them? Why would parents want to expose them to coding along with the after school swim programs?
You know what, I like that even if the child does not have an interest later in coding or does not want that's not their interest, they may want to be a doctor or something else. Coding gives you these soft skills that, like logic, and it also teaches the kids how to work in teams and meet deadlines and all these things that you need in many jobs. You're going to have to work with other people. You're going to have to work in teams, and you're going to have to you're going to make mistakes. Coding, there's a lot of mistakes made in coding. It's not like surgery where you say, well, give me another chance to work on this heart. You know, the man's dead. You don't have another chance. Coding, you can literally break a computer and fix it. It's not broken. You can fix it. So it teaches kids that it's okay to make errors. And it teaches, you know, and that's something in real life.
Maybe we need to have some adults take your class, coding.
Yeah, because it does. It teaches you so many things that about life. And you would think that it's strictly about this technical piece. That's just part of it. It really teaches you a lot about decision-making skills that, you know, you only get through experience.
Well, Shay, let's go back to this question of women in STEM. And you embrace minorities in STEM. What does coding do particularly for women beyond the skill set itself? You talked about, you know, the value of learning that there are going to be mistakes made on the road to success. You talked about working in teams. How does it help these young girls as they approach womanhood to have participated in coding?
I think it builds confidence. I think, you know, you traditionally see technical, you know, back 20, 30 years ago, that was a man's field. You know, you didn't hear a lot of women doing computers.
And hidden figures truly were hidden figures.
They really were. They were behind the scenes. So yeah, so you didn't hear it a lot. You didn't hear that women were involved. And so just being able to do something that most can't, or that's male dominated, it just gives you a sense of pride that, and let's face it, when women get into things, we conquer those things, right? So innovation happens when you have diversity in these types of careers, you know, and men, when you're working with different, you know, when you're working with men as a woman, you can bring new ideas and more creative ideas to the forefront. So I think for these girls, for young girls, I would say choose something that's outside of the box, and you just never know what you can create.
Well, you talk about it being an after-school program. What's the state of education that we're having to approach coding from a perspective of you gathering money and then bringing the program to the school in an after-school format? Why isn't it more integrated into the education system?
You know, that's probably the $1 million question. It's just like I did a volunteer, I volunteered at a middle school not too long ago, and they were teaching the kids how to write a check. It's like, these schools are so antiquated. They don't have the funding to bring in people who are not the experience. See, I think the challenge with schools, my husband's a college professor. And so one of the things we talk about is they bring people in with a background of education, and that's okay, but you really need diversity of thought. You need to bring people in with technology, since technology is the future, and you see that's where the country is going and the world is going. You need to be prepared and to prepare the students as early as possible. And so bringing in someone that doesn't have 15 years of education experience, but bring in somebody that has maybe some business acumen, some technology acumen, to bridge the two together. And I think that's one of the problems that we have in education right now, that you just have this antiquated thought process and no just reluctance to change what is going on.
And funding and supporting teachers and people. You know, it could be a position of national security to have talent grow up in the schools who can do this. I was attending a session that JP Morgan Chase put on this week. And one of the things they were talking about, Shay, and most people see them, as one of the strongest banks in the world, which they are under Jamie Dimon's leadership. Mm-hmm. But the other thing that they're doing, Shay, is they're having discussions about the play of quantum computing, in our financial world, across our whole, system of life. And so I don't understand why we've not approached it at a strong place beginning young, since it's so important, actually critical to how we'll be living in the very short future.
Yeah. And I think, and like, as you said, it's funding, and then also resources, finding the right folks. I mean, there's so many schools across the US, just really trying to find the right folks to be able to integrate this successfully. It's going to take years and years to change the dynamics of the way the education process is.
Well, I'm inviting everybody in our family who's thinking about this to connect with Ask JBH, and I'm going to connect with Shay on this if you're open to it. And let's start having some active ground roots conversations about how we're going to get our kids the type of education that's going to be relevant, not just to their ability to earn good lives and work on teams, but to help us from a national security perspective to build stronger systems with ethical computing.
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay, sure. So y'all hear the shout out. Listen, Shay, you do a lot though. You also are a fitness queen and a health queen. We got to talk about that. So give it to us, Shay, because a lot of us are coming out of COVID, and maybe some haven't been as diligent as they should, but all hope is not lost, family.
No,
Shay,
never.
Tell us, give us some quick fix and then give us some long term.
Listen, what the beauty is? I was just talking about Coach the other day about this subject. The beauty of fitness. I have a coach. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm actually a professional bodybuilder. Mm-hmm. And I have a coach, and we were talking about this the other day. And I think, what I love about fitness, you can start today. You can always start today. And you can change your life starting today. And I think we look at it as, I don't want to do that. I don't want to. Just start. It's too late. It's never too late. I am 40, almost 44, with a six pack. You can do it. I mean, you can, and I have 2 kids. They are mine. They're actually my kids. And I don't come from a fit family.
Shay, I think what you want to say is they're biologically born from you.
Yeah, so I don't come from a fit family. Every woman in my family after the age of 40 is on blood pressure medicine because of food and not exercising. I am the only one, and the reason why is because of food and exercise, because I take both of them very seriously. And so, but I don't recommend being as strict about it as me. I'm a 100% clean. Like, I don't eat any sugar at all. And
how do you manage that? I mean, when you qualify what sugar is, do you eat a carrot?
I don't eat any sugar at all. No, I do not.
So what does food look like for you?
I don't eat an apple. I don't eat a banana. I don't eat any sugar at all. But I'm bodybuilding. So that's what I'm saying. Nobody should be.
But what does food
so I eat a lot of protein. I eat a lot of protein. I eat a lot of lean meats. So chicken, fish, a lot of tilapia, salmon sparingly because it has a lot of fat in it. Like, I have to monitor everything, and what most people would traditionally think is healthy, I have to be careful about because I bodybuild. So,
you compete?
I compete. Yeah, I have a show 2 weeks from now. I had one a month ago.
Tell us about the one that's 2 weeks from now. Or did you say it's 2 weeks from now?
Yes, ma'am. It's on my birthday. It's actually on my birthday.
So tell folks how they get to see Shay.
So it's in Texas. It's at where the Houston Texans play, actually. So you can go online at npc.com, npconline.com. And I think they'll have live
They'll be
footage
streaming
of it. They will. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're doing a very, very firm diet. What should a diet look like for those who want to get in shape, but they're not going to be bodybuilding? What should it look like? We've heard everybody talk about it, but
yeah.
you live it.
So if we have a chat link, I can put, so my coach just created a 1 month for June, all the food that you can eat to scale it back. Because most people, the problem is food, not necessarily the exercise. If you could start with the food and kind of detox your body. So he created a 1 month, the month of June, 30 days of discipline. And I know it's June 11th or whatever today is, but I'll put the link in, and all you do is—
and they can jump in and do the math.
You put your name and it'll give you every day what you should eat, a whole list of all the food. And he's got fruit and all that stuff in it. Like I said, I don't, because I'm bodybuilding, but there's fruit, there's snacks in there. But if you follow that, you'll lose 10 pounds in a month. If you
and then
that.
how do you justify losing 10 pounds in a month? Is that healthy for somebody to do?
So to me, eating healthy is a lifestyle. Like I wouldn't suggest just doing it for the month and then going back to eating trash, right? I would suggest working your way into a healthier lifestyle and eliminating something bad each month. So for me, I wasn't always this way. I was overweight. I used to be a size 16 at some point in my life. And what I did was I eliminated something.
And you're a size what now?
00. I cannot
yes,
fit a zero.
I want to make sure people understand.
Yep. Yeah. 00. And so I would eliminate, what I would suggest, because you don't want to be extreme, I would suggest eliminating one thing at a time. So for example, if you drink a lot of soda is one of the worst things you can put in your body. Sorry, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. It really,
they got a great diversity program, though.
I love the diversity program.
Hey, Shay, that DE&I program is killer.
I love it. But yeah, or ice cream. Something, if you can eliminate one thing that you eat a lot of, chips, whatever that is.
Shay, you're killing all your DE&I friends.
I'm sorry.
Ben and Jerry's, Coke and Pepsi.
But you know what? I still buy the stuff. I don't deprive my kids. I don't deprive my family. Like I said, I am doing this because of what I'm.
Yes, I hear you.
But I just
or if somebody's trying to get a jump start.
If you want a jump start, eliminate one thing. Whatever that thing is that you eat in excess, and just eliminate it for 4 weeks and see how you feel.
I got to tell you, girl, right before you came on, I was sitting here enjoying something called Dr. John's Healthy Sweets. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. John's.
No.
And while they do have calories, there are 60 calories in each chunk. And it's kind of like this. By the way, I have no connection to Dr. John's. I'm just sharing because we care, okay? Yep. But my daughter turned me on to them. There's a whole menu of things that Dr. John's offers. Like they have the candies that you can actually, well, you shouldn't fall asleep with candy in your mouth, but you can certainly eat in bed. They cleanse you. They're good for you, not just not harmful. They're good for you. And so I've been rethinking how I treat myself a lot over COVID as well. She turned me on to Dr. John's about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was just a lollipop thing for me when I got on planes, because, you know, your mouth stays healthy and clean. You get off smiling great, right? But then I watched their product line grow, and I've grown with it in my use of it. And it's just really wonderful because I am a dark chocolate kind of gal.
Yeah, I like it. I am a dark chocolate kind of gal too, as you can see.
Yeah. And so we talked a lot about food, and you and we've linked people to how to take advantage of that month-long June thing. They can do the math and start wherever they jump in. But it's also important to move the body as well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. 30 minutes, if you can, walk. If you can't run. And what I tell people, because they come up to me all the time in the gym, you look great. What are you doing? Everything is not for everybody. Everybody does not want to lift weights, heavy weights. Everybody does not want to do a spin class. Everybody does not want to run 8 miles a day. What I would say try so many different things. If you want to go salsa dancing, just move, try 30 minutes a day if you can. Get out.
Clean the top shelves of your closet.
Yes. Do something active, because it's just good for the heart. It's good for the blood flow. It's good for longevity of your life.
But I love
and you
that
feel
you
better.
recommended walking, and that happens to be one of my favorites. And I live out on a peninsula where we have lots of trails and good walking. My son told me that that your legs, the veins, the arteries in your legs really feed your heart in a way that exercise is very appreciated. And I know, since you focus in heavily, although not exclusively, on the minority community, and in particular Black people, he said, just getting up and walking would help us so much with those areas of diabetes and heart and high blood pressure.
Yeah.
He said that's like a holy trinity treat to yourself, to just get up and walk.
Yeah. And really, even the one other thing too, even if I would say, if you can, stay away from processed food. Cook more. Even if you made a hamburger at home, it's better than one that you got from a fast food restaurant.
But now, Shay, look, that depends on how you cook at home, because where I'm from, Shay, a lot of people, everything got butter and pork fat in it. So I see you putting your hands up. You don't want to hear this. But I commit to you, I'm not cooking it that way. I have not eliminated butter, but I don't cook in it.
Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right every once in a while. Like the day after my show, guess what? I'm going to get me the biggest lamb chop you ever seen. It's a Brussels sprouts and a baked potato. I think it's okay, just as long, everything is okay in moderation. Like this is what I'm doing is a bit extreme. I won't do this for the rest of my life. This is hard. This is very hard to do. If it's a mental...
I think what you're messaging, Shay, is determine what you can really commit to and do it one step, one thing at a time. Don't put yourself into a state of shock and then you're not going to commit.
No. And do things you enjoy. Like I said, like you said, you love walking. So why would I tell you, come lift weights with me? I mean, you give up and then you don't want to do anything because now you're sore.
Although it gives you gorgeous arms, it gives you gorgeous arms. You got the arms, baby. You got the arms.
Thank you. I work very hard. Thank you.
But I get it really. Commit to what you're really gonna feel success in.
Yeah.
Take it one step at a time. And combine it in exercise and food. It's not one or the other for us. And I think that leads you to a happier life. As I told you, Shay, we're going to talk about love advice. You are a Black woman who is succeeding on a lot of levels. Some might say you got it all, but you didn't get it all at one time, and you didn't get it all easily right away. How do we keep it going? And when I say love advice, I'm talking about love for yourself in the way you were created to, not selfish love, not narcissistic love, but caring for the temple that you reside in.
Yeah. And you know what? So I try daily to do things that make Shay happy. It sounds selfish if you just say it like that, but I can't pour from an empty cup is what I believe. And so if I want to be the best mom, the best wife, the best coworker, whatever it is, if I want to be the best, I have to be happy. So for me, happiness is fitness. So I wake up, Shay comes first. So I don't interrupt my family at this time. I get up at 4:30 every morning. No one is up but me and other insane people who wake up at 4:30 to go work out. And so I do that for 2 hours and I feel fantastic the rest of the day. I got my workout in, I'm happy, I'm energetic. I crash at 9. I do crash at 9:30, but
So you eat, so you're doing a lot of on demand if you're doing TV at all.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So literally, I can't even watch TV unless I'm doing my cardio. So right now, I'm doing an hour of cardio a day, and I'm on a bike or something, and I catch up on something. Then it's a
Did you join the
podcast.
Peloton craze?
I did not. I see that's not for me. So that's what I said. Do things you love, because if the Peloton was the only option for me, I would be 400 pounds. Because I don't like it. I don't want to be on a bike. I don't want to be in my house, a bike in my house. I don't want to be, I cannot work out at home. So COVID, the first few months was very tough for me because all the gyms were closed. So I made a makeshift gym in my garage, and that was very tough for me. But I had no other choice. And so I did it, and it was fine. But the minute the gyms opened, I was back in the gym because that's where I like weightlifting. I like heavy weights. I lift like a bodybuilder. So that's what I like, and that's what I enjoy. So my advice would be take care of yourself first. I hear a lot of people saying, well, my family, they need me. Yes, they do need you. They need you to be the best you first. And in order for you to be the best you first, you have to do things that make you happy. At some point, every day, I do one thing that I know is going to put a smile on my face, and it has nothing to do with anyone else. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with my husband. It has nothing to do with my kids. It's for me. It's my pampering. And so that's what I do. So if it's a foot massage, if it's walking down to the mailbox and back, fresh air, whatever that is for you, do it.
And I had a physician friend of mine tell me, actually, we're figuring out COVID, but one thing she felt really committed to was that you got this opportunity to up your exercise game. The time you spent going back and forth to wherever you worked can be invested in, walking or exercising. She also told me that keeping a state of mental health. She said mental health and physical health are areas people aren't looking at as COVID fighters. They mask up, they may distance, but they also got to come closer to taking care of themselves. And I hear you preaching this same thing. You're just not saying, by the way, here's Shay's COVID prescription.
No, right. It's a lot mental. It's a lot of it is mental. And I just feel like we put ourselves, especially as women, we want to take care of the world. Well, I got to do this and I got to do this for this person. And I didn't even have time to eat. Those words never come out of my mouth. I always have time for Shay. I do.
Yes, you got to. And we're benefited from that right now. Just seeing you as a living, practicing a disciple of what you're preaching. And it's wonderful for us. Shay, before we go to 4 for 4, we've already talked a little bit. I talked a little bit in introducing you about your work and about Down syndrome. But is there anything you want people to know? Because, you mentioned that your 13-year-old is Down symptomatic, and you're still managing to create a healthy and a very adjusted life. And I don't want to overpromise on that, because I know that is work too, but everything is work, and work is a blessing.
Is work.
Tell us what we need to know about Downs before we go to 4 for 4.
I think one of the things that I've learned, like I said, and I had a tough lesson over COVID, but one of the things I learned is labels hinder us. And what I mean by that is when he was born, we didn't know that he had Down syndrome when I was pregnant. We didn't know when he was born that he was Down syndrome. We took him home from the hospital thinking he was a normal child. And I wanted to breastfeed. And so when I got home, you know how they do good in the hospital, and then when you get home, then they act brand new, like they don't know you. So he had a tough time latching on when we came home. And I called the nurses, and they were encouraging me and just saying, please just do it. Eventually he's gonna latch because he's hungry. He's gonna eat, blah, 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 right? And so fast forward, he ended up nursing for a year. 6 months into his life, this was 2008, so there was a national convention, the Republican National Convention, and Sarah Palin said her speech, and she got off, and she had her baby in her hands, and her son has Down syndrome as well. She turned her baby towards the camera, and I cried. They looked identical, a white version of my baby. They looked identical, and I called my sister. I go, do you think that Dylan, his name is Dylan, do you think that Dylan looks like Down syndrome kids? And she said, my sister kept him she has a childcare center. So she keeps him during the day and, or at that time. And so she said, yeah, a little. And so I said, well, we got to go to the doctor. I told my husband, he's like, no, of course not. You know how men are. No, he doesn't have it. So we went to the doctor, took the test. The test came back a few weeks later, and my doctor was shocked. He's like, I mean, he's on target for everything, crawling, he's nursing, he's doing all these things that usually Down syndrome kids don't do because they're delayed. Everything is delayed for Down syndrome kids. And so in that instance, I realized because of the last 6 months of his life, we treated him normal. We didn't know he had Down syndrome, so we didn't have a label to say he can't do, so we forced him to nurse. We forced him to crawl, because those were the milestones that normal kids do. So what I will say to people is labels hinder, and labels will manifest your thought process and your thinking to believe that you can't do something. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so for me, that was the life lesson, that when you do those things, you already set this threshold, and that person can't reach it because you've put this label based on studies, not based on that person. And so it was really eye-opening for us. And like I said, we've learned to navigate this life with him and allow him to try new things and do things. And because of that happening to us, I think he is in a much better place at the age of 13 than he would have been.
And Dylan has a 14-year-old non-Downs brother.
Yes.
How did that relationship, how has it evolved, and how are they supportive or learning or teaching of each other?
So 2 things. They're like regular brothers, fight, one gets on the other one's nerves, just like in any normal home. But my oldest loves his brother, and he protects his brother, and he won't let anybody do anything. We've been blessed that we haven't had any bad experiences. He walks around, my youngest, the one with Down syndrome, he's like a star in our neighborhood. Everybody knows his name, and they're so nice. And so we haven't had any bad experiences, thank God, because I've heard some horror stories, but they're just like any other brothers, any other siblings. They fight. One gets on his nerves. The newest thing is my oldest doesn't like the way my youngest chews. So, so he doesn't want to eat at the kitchen table, So.
Well, you know what? You segued me beautifully to 4 for 4, because I'm going to ask you 4 questions and you're going to give me 4 answers to each question. Okay. Please accompany each answer with why, okay? And you're talking about food. Shay, you get to invite 4 people to dinner from any period, past or present. Who are you inviting to dinner and why?
Everybody who knows me knows the first person I'm going to say, which you probably would never believe in life. Scottie Pippen is my favorite all-time sports figure. Nobody, don't say anything. I don't want anybody booing, saying Jordan.
Why somebody gonna boo you, Shay? Why somebody gonna boo you?
Since I was 12 years old, I absolutely love Scottie Pippen.
Why you love Scottie?
Not in a romantic way. I just love his game. I loved him. And so, like I said, I've always been I'm the middle child, right? So everybody loved Jordan. Everybody was on Jordan's Jordan.
Shay, I like Jordan, but I love Kobe. Let's get
Okay,
it
good.
straight.
See, so this era in the 90s, everybody, and see, I'm from St. Louis, so the closest NBA team was Chicago. So we all were Chicago Bulls. For the most part, we were Chicago Bulls fans. And
Kobe
everybody.
Bryant, Janice Bryant,
I love
Howroyd.
it.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, a distant relative. I see it. But yeah, so Scottie Pippen would be definitely one of the first people that I would invite. How many people do I get?
You get 4, and I got mad respect for Scotty, so I want to make sure I say
good.
that. But you're inviting him because he's your childhood hero.
I just love him. I just love his game. I loved the compliment. I believe that Jordan wouldn't be who he was without him. That's my belief. So I really admired his game. You know, I heard after I saw the one-on-one of that the story just a year ago.
Yeah.
It made me look at him differently, some of the things I didn't know. But like I said, it was all about the game. It had nothing to do with his personal life or anything like that. So he would definitely be my first choice. Let's see. They could be dead.
Yeah, they can be past or present.
Okay.
They're going to be live at your table when you get them.
It's going to be live. Of course, Barack Obama. I just want to be in the same room with him, period. You know, and I guess I invite Michelle too, is because they're just the best. They're probably, I just admire them from afar. You know, even if I hear something bad later, I'm still rocking for Barack and Michelle. So I think for sure those two. So that's 3, right?
Yeah, that's 3.
And then, oh man. Who else would I invite? I don't know. It would probably be somebody like Dr. Martin Luther King or somebody, you know.
Nice table. He can lay a prayer on it.
Yeah, like he passed before I was born, so I just got questions. I got questions, you know? So like we're living in history right now, and I just wonder at 40 years from now, being able to tell these stories, how different they will be versus us living in it. So with him, I just got questions about his life and some of the things, his thought processes, and that would be, I think that would be
a nice table. You got a nice table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, music. What four things are you listening to? Artists, and why?
I just was look on the way to the gym this morning. I was listening to the best of Anita Baker. She's probably my favorite. Oh, she's probably. I'm not a concert person, but every time she's come to St. Louis, I've gone. And I'm really.
You're the first person to name Anita. Can you believe that?
Oh my gosh, she is probably. I think she's very underrated. I think she's up there. Like when you mention a Whitney, to me, when you mention a Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, I think to me, Anita Baker should be up there. Every song she can sing. And
she's got a certain Sarah Vaughan vibe to her too.
Yeah,
in her voice.
It's soulful, it's sultry, it's relaxing, it's
real and gritty and
it's
still
real.
elegant. And,
Yes. So Anita Baker for sure is like my go-to. You know, I like Mary J. Blige too. I love. Most people say she can't sing, but I mean, I like her message. I like that she's real. So I think that's probably really the thing that draws me to certain artists is that she's real. Adele, that's one of my favorites. She can sing anything. I try to sing in the car, but and
she's brilliant in concert. She's brilliant.
Oh yeah, she's probably one, as far as vocal talent. She's probably one of the best out now. And then of course I got to throw some rap in there because I bodybuild, so I listen to a lot of rap music because it just keeps me vibing. So I would say Lil Wayne is probably, Jay-Z is one of my top,
Do you ever listen to J. Cole?
J. Cole, yes, I just actually listened to his new album. There's a song under pressure. He's got a lot of
Yeah.
positive messages in his
Yeah,
song.
J. Cole from Carolina. You know, he from my
Okay.
neck of the woods.
Oh, didn't know that. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
I like him. I like positive rap. So I like Nipsey Hussle. Yeah, I like when it's when they have a lot of messages, you know, maybe hood, almost hood, but still with the message about growth and economics. Nipsey Hussle did that very well in his albums. So
I'm down with you on that. Okay, what about books? 4 books that you would recommend to our family. Now, remember, our family is typically 25 to 45 years old, probably 60+% women, but
okay.
which means we got the men in there too.
Okay.
What books do you recommend?
Number
4.
1, for sure, Doing Leadership by the Good Book. So Dave has 2 books. Dave Stewart has 2 books. The first one is Doing Business by the Good Book. That's an older book, maybe early 2000 is when he wrote that one. And then he just wrote one that came out last year, and it's on Amazon. Both are on Amazon, but it's called Doing Leadership by the Good Book. Talk about some good nuggets of just leadership in whatever you try to do. I mean, it doesn't have to be on the scale of $1 billion corporation, but just fundamental knowledge.
I was on Dr. Willie Jolly's podcast. That's probably gonna be running soon. We just did it, and he was sharing with me, you know, that he had Dave on, and we share a respect for that. So yeah.
And then the other book is, so that's 2, Doing Business by the Good Book and Doing Leadership by the Good Book, and then Good to Great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find, let me see if I can find the name of the author, James Collins.
Yeah. I can give you that because we made that required reading in our
it's a required reading for us as well. I love that book. I love another book that I'm reading, and because I have this other business in real estate, it's a Real Estate for Dummies book that I'm reading now. But it just talks about land ownership and location and all of those things. But it's a good book to read just to get some foundational knowledge about what is required, you know. So if you're interested in real estate, and that is one of the things that I hate that we didn't talk about. I'm really big on wealth management and creating generational wealth in the African American community. And I actually just started at the end of last year another company called CCK Money, that we go into schools and teach kids about credit, the stock market, and financial institutions. And so it's called BY. We have a program called BYOE, Bring Your Own Equity. And it's really about building that, building your own equity. I'm sorry. And it's really about building equity, and no one's going to do that for you. No one's going to give you a handout. And there's some things that you can do fundamentally to sustain wealth on your own. I grew up, like I told you, single mom, 3 kids by the time she was 21. And I've built a plus network because of just some of the knowledge that I've learned over the years. Baby steps. I'm not rich, you know, by any stretch of the imagination, but because I've acquired land and things like that and saved throughout the years, and just teaching kids the importance of that. So you're not struggling. You don't want to be struggling in your 40s.
Beyond monopoly.
Yes.
I have a great friend, Francine Lafrac. I pinch myself when I call her name as a friend because she's such an incredible human being. And Francine has a really strong success as a person and in her career. And I did a she visited our podcast. Go listen to it. And you're going to be inspired by what she's saying. One of the things she does share, and she works so effectively toward eradicating, is the disparity of women's understanding and ownership, you know, of their own wealth. And she likens it to a lack of confidence, which you spoke to earlier, that can breed so much else that we fail in as women if we lack confidence. And she ties confidence and wealth building together in a beautiful way. I think you would like her.
Okay.
And I know she would
check that
enjoy
out.
knowing.
What's her name again?
Francine Lefrak, Lefrak. She lives in New York. She travels the world, and her heart is big. Her wisdom is strong, and she teaches so well. She has helped fund women in business in Africa. She's just, I can't go on about her enough. And you remind me so much of her with your enthusiasm and your knowledge, you know, and your heart for sharing what you know.
Thank you.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. You went 3 for 4. We're at 4 for 4 now, girl. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What 4 pieces of advice do you want to give our family listening, and why? And here's the distinguishing thing about 4 for 4. Share if it's your own advice or if it's advice that's been shared with you that you're paying forward.
Oh. Okay.
Yes, we do this. We do
I
this.
See that I'm paying for.
You're paying it forward. You're paying it forward. If somebody help you with that advice, you help somebody else. But also if you have your own advice, which you gotta tell us why.
Yeah, I would say one of the things I try to live by, and this is my own advice, just seeing my life and how it has transpired. I find I'm a positive person, so I will find the positive out of most anything. So I would say the advice that I would bring to people, number one, is assume goodwill. And what I mean by that is there are so many things that happen that have nothing to do with you that may be bad. For example, I'm going to give a small example. You're driving, someone cuts you off. You go to cursing, right? They can't hear you, for one, so you're wasting your energy and breath, you know, or you follow them a couple of times. Why? I mean, it's just too much, right? How about you assume that if that wasn't about you and that they just got a call and their wife just fell down some flight of steps? I mean, and it has nothing to do with you. Or their baby, they just found out they're having a baby and they got to get to the hospital fast and they didn't mean to, or they didn't even see your car. Sometimes you don't see the car because there's blind spot. Why do we always assume the worst? Somebody's out to get me. Somebody did this to me. Sometimes it's not even about you.
I love that, Shay. Assume goodwill.
Assume goodwill. So for me, I try to give people, now if it's blatant in my face, that's different. I'm not naive, but when I don't know all the details, I'm gonna assume that a person is like me, because 99.9% of God's creatures are fabulous. They're good, right? It's that 0.5 or 0.005, whatever it is, that ruins it. Really, I mean, if you think about it, most people in your life are not bad people, right? It's really just this small percentage that messes it up. So for me, I assume most people think are trying to do good and it has nothing to do with me. So I assume goodwill. So
that's okay. That's one, and that is brilliant.
Yep, that's my first one. My second one that I get from people, and I'm a work in process or progress with this, is taking risk. Every woman that I've ever talked to, I'm sure that's probably some advice you get. You took a risk. When you started your company back when there was hardly any women CEOs, you know, you took a risk, and look at where you are today, you know? And I think that's probably one of the things that I'm constantly thinking about. Okay, Shay, don't be afraid to do, because I am pretty conservative when it comes to a lot of things. It doesn't seem like it, but I really am. I won't stretch too far or invest too much into things that I'm not certain about. but I kind of think it will work. But I know with God, it's always worked. Like in my life, I've been successful in so many things because I've felt like, I can do it, and I got God's back, and he's got my back, and I feel like he does, but I still won't take risks in certain ways, so I would say that's the advice that people give me, and I'm trying to
pay it forward.
Yeah, that would be one. And another one is, which is very personal for me, take care of your health. I know we talked about it for a second, but listen, there are things that we can prevent ourselves, right? Cancer, no one knows where that is coming from. You could do certain things. They think sugar has a lot to do with it, but it could be hereditary, all those things. But let me tell you, unless there's a genetic problem, heart disease and high blood pressure and having to get a triple bypass, double bypass, all of those things can be prevented if we would just get up and move and we would work out. Why take all this money that you're spending or putting into a 401k now to spend it on a doctor later? Why?
Wow.
Why? I'm not setting aside all this money so that I can buy prescription drugs in my 60s.
Shay, you put it in an incredible way. Number 3 is powerful. I don't know how you're going to top it with number 4, but that is powerful.
Oh, and then, okay, the next one I would say is, you know what? Find ways to stay happy. Find ways to be happy.
Shay, one of the questions I had planned to ask you, and you just were radiating. I said I was going to let it be inferred. I'm so glad you paused on it and made it number 4. It was, Shay, you're always glowing. Are you always happy?
You know what? Because I feel like we got one of these. Like, think about that. I mean, like, really think about that. We think we just are going to be here forever. We got one of these. Why spend it focusing on things that you, one, can't control, or things that make you unhappy? Now, I'm not saying I cry. I have breakdowns sometimes where I'm like curled up in a fetal position, but it's very few and far between. I get over it and I'm like, next, what are you going to do, little girl? What are you going to do? And I talk to myself that way. Like, you got to do something because you can control.
What's next for you? What are you going to be doing next?
Oh,
you mentioned that you're competing, but
yeah, I'm competing, but you know what? I need a vacation. I want to relax. I do. I want to, while I got this body, because it's not going to be, literally when I step off stage, I'm going to gain 15 pounds. Like, because you can't sustain that weight. You can't sustain stage weight. So I want to take a vacation before I go back to regular Shay. So I can wear a swimsuit and then.
Well, look, whether we got
body.
Girl, whether we got regular Shay, whether we got optimum Shay, wherever we get Shay, we want it. I am so glad you have shared this time with us. Shay, I just love you. I'm a terrific fan of yours.
Thank you.
I think you radiate love, and everything you do is teaching. So you're one of my very favorite people, and I'm grateful you came on.
Thank you. Well,
From
you know
my
what?
heart to your home.
Thank you, Miss Janice. I am honored. You are an icon. You know what I'm saying? And I just can't believe you chose me. Like, literally, I'm like, I can't
God
believe.
chose you, and I checked in with God.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, stay well, stay healthy, and come back.
Thank you. I will, for sure. Bye.